Are students prepared for the more traditional education they'll get in college?
The thing I always am aware of is that when we come into this world as children, we're learning machines. And, we don't have to take classes to learn how to crawl. We don't have to take classes to learn how to talk. And so there's a hunger. It's personally relevant to our own sense of happiness, well-being, and possibility. And that's another piece that kids stay connected to in this environment. Is this directly relevant to my personal sense of possibility, happiness, and well-being? And as I was saying before, this theme that came up is so relevant around we're smart people, we'll figure it out. Kids here have the sense of their own personal resource, their own sense of appropriate priorities. And to Ethan's point, if they see a goal that they set for themselves, or they have a purpose that's calling them forward, they have the tools and the confidence to move forward and accomplish those things. So it may look very unconventional or untraditional from the outside, but the essence of the learning is there. It's around, how do I solve this problem, or how do I achieve this goal? And they're not being pushed along the way, but there's something out there that's pulling them forward, calling out the best of them. And it's a very different way of trusting, that's not just based on intellect, but based on the fact that as human beings, we have a full array of resources that we tend, again, in traditional education and conditioning, to shut ourselves down to and cut off ourselves from. Instinctual things are this deeper knowing and caring. And for me, that's part of the experience and the value of being human, is remaining deeply connected to our sense of caring. And if I care, I'll do whatever it takes to learn what I need to learn, to overcome whatever perceived barriers between me and my goal. Whereas if, speaking from my own experience, where I was just kind of targeting the grade and getting everybody else's approval through meeting their expectations, when I was dropped into the adult world, I kind of floundered for a while, I made the adaptive choice of, okay, well, let's see, I don't have academics to excel in anymore. How do I measure success? And I said, oh, I know, I'll make money. And it was not a very gratifying experience. And I'm so delighted that my kids are super smart. And to Kay's point, I'm learning from them all the time. They're always giving me new insights on things I do care about, philosophical ideas, things about new technology and how it relates to, the bigger questions of life. And I'm just always enriched in my conversations with them. And this topic of academics and so on, in some ways, becomes irrelevant because it's not about, meeting some specific criteria for measuring success, unless it's one that my child chooses as being meaningful. Then they'll set that criteria and they'll meet it. I was a little concerned when my kids first came here because, as I say, knowing what I knew was only had to do with being in public school and excelling in college and so on. I was aware, some part of me was aware that when we committed to having our kids come here, that I had to let go of a lot of my expectations. I had to let go of a lot of what was familiar to me. And one of those was I had to let go of the idea that they must go to college to be happy, or to have meaning, or to be important, or be positioned for success in life. And sure enough, both of my two older kids chose not to go to college. And in terms of income and success out there, all the outward indicators of success that most people would apply, they're more successful than I am. And they're happier and at this stage of their life than I was at their stage. And I've really come to appreciate the fact that academics, it's like we're confusing academics. We're making what should be in service to our happiness into the master. And I trust my children to learn. I trust the school to provide them with the resources and the opportunities to learn. And my sense of what's important and possible has been totally recalibrated over the years. It's as I say, it's been almost 17 years now, and I don't give a second thought or concern about, well, gee, I hope Sander can understand the physics of how this happens, so that because that will, what? I don't even know why it's important. It's like, if Xander looks at something and says, that's important, I know he'll learn it. And I'll support him in it, and I'll learn from it, because it's not like this burden or obligation that he carries around and wants to drop as soon as he comes home. When he comes home, quite often he'll bring his excitements with him, and we keep learning.